So we are talking about the movie Decay, a 2015 drama, really, more than a horror film, but I don't have a drama section here, so I'm going to call it a horror because it does have some horror elements. Now this one is directed by Joseph Water-Chaney, who also wrote this, and stars Rob Zabrecky, Lisa Howard and Alicia Yaff. So the story here is quite slight. Basically it tells a story of a young man who is a bit of a loner. His name's Jonathan, and basically he is the product of a kind of an abusive mother. We see a few kind of flashbacks throughout the film, and we learn he's basically been somewhat kind of like kept under the cosh, shall we say. So this has kind of made him somewhat of a kind of loner and a bit of a weirdo, really. And at the beginning of the film, we basically see these two young girls break into his house, kind of have a look around because he's a neighbourhood weirdo, and one of them accidentally kind of trips and falls and kills her, basically dies, whilst this guy comes back home, and the other one kind of runs out thinking that this guy's killed her and runs straight into a car and also dies. And basically the guy it simply keeps one of the girls and kind of becomes attached to her and treating her like she's his girlfriend, basically. So this film definitely has some kind of necrophiliac overtones. Nothing is ever shown on screen in regards to that, but it's certainly hinted at, although we do see the gradually decaying corpse of this girl, basically, hence the title. But that is really the movie. There's not really much else other than that. There's no real once we kind of get into the that kind of section of the film, it doesn't really go any further than that. All it is really this kind of showing you this guy just losing his marbles, basically, and kind of imagining things and kind of imagining situations with this kind of girl, and we kind of see him go to his work and kind of interact with a couple of people. But more or less, it's just this guy imagining situations with his corpse, really, and that's pretty much it. We do have a kind of the police come around a couple of times, obviously looking for the girl, but it doesn't really sort of go anywhere. So although the beginning of this film set up quite an interesting premise, I have to say it's kind of a boring film and quite depressing because of that. On the plus side, like I said, the actual setup here is quite intriguing, and actually quite a lot happens in the beginning, kind of like 15 minutes of this film, and it seems like it's going to be, have quite an interesting kind of setup. But unfortunately, the movie just can't, after the initial setup, it just can't compete with that. The acting is for the most part, I think, is all pretty good. Rob Zabrecky basically gives a kind of creepy performance as Jonathan, who is just kind of like this weird guy. But too much time, I felt, is spent on kind of hammering home, yeah, this guy's weird. We get the picture. He's weird. He's kind of, the product of kind of years of abuse and stuff like that by his overbearing mother. We get that, and but it kind of just seems to have scene after scene of kind of him looking at things and kind of slow-mo shots and kind of establishing shots and stuff like that. And I have to say the kind of the film gets weirder as it goes on and kind of more surreal. So if you are into the kind of the art house thing, then you kind of may like this. But it's quite a depressing film. The effects on the kind of the corpse are are somewhat graphic. There's lots of maggots involved and things like that. So if you're a bit queasy, you may want to skip this one. I have to say I didn't really understand that the other character that is in this is the neighbour, this kind of older woman. Is she a product of his imagination? I'm not quite sure they were going that one, to be honest with you. But overall, I didn't really like it, if I'm completely honest with you. Although it kind of like had quite a good setup as a film as a whole, it was kind of just a little bit boring and just nothing really happened. The plot I just didn't go anywhere, despite the fact that I felt it had some artistic credit to it. So overall, I'm going to give this movie a 4 out of 10. Have you seen it? What did you think of it? Leave a comment and I'll look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.